Let's unhaul some books. Hello everyone, my name is Leah. Welcome back to this channel. Today we will do a little unhaul. So these are 17 books in total, and most of these will be just duplicates, so books that I own a different edition of and I just don't need all of the editions, just the ones that I keep, and I can get rid of those ones. And then one of these stacks will be books that I did read and I only own once, but I don't think I'll ever reread it, or I even didn't enjoy the book that much, so yeah, just getting rid of it to have a little bit more space in my bookshelves. The books on the background, which already look like they are maybe part of the video, they are not. These are books that will have to be featured in a haul, so yeah, just ignore them or take them as decoration for the video. So for all of the duplicates, I have the first book in the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon in German in a tiny paperback version, and I have most of the books of the series in hardback, also in German, so I really don't need this one, which doesn't even match any of the other books. Next up is Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. Again, I own it this time in English, and I want to keep the English version, of course, don't need the German one. And this should be retelling of some Jules Verne book, I think. Haven't read it. Then I'll get rid of this German edition by C.E. Bernard. No idea what it's called again in English, but I have the English copy somewhere on my bookshelves, and I will read that one and not the German one, although it is quite a beautiful cover. And by the way, I don't sell any of these books. I always give them free to people I know who might be interested in these, or I put them into a school library for students to pick books from that shelf if they're interested. And then I've got this quite beautiful paperback edition of Great Sling by Kristen Kershaw. I have the whole series in hardback and also in these newer paperback editions, which look like illustrated. I don't know how to describe them, but yeah, I don't need this copy as well. Doesn't match any of my other editions, so yeah, bye bye. This one is the German edition of the prequel from the Hunger Games series by Susan Collins. I think it's called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, something like that in English, and I do own an English copy now. Got it very recently for Christmas, so you will see it in a haul sometime in the future. And yeah, I just don't need this one as well. I'd rather much prefer to read the English one in the original language with a more beautiful cover, I think. So the next book doesn't have a dust jacket, which is the reason why I want to get rid of it. It is He Who Drowned the World, and yeah, I have a copy with a dust jacket from, I don't know, Waterstones or something, and I will keep that, of course, instead of this one. So yeah, no need to hold on to this copy. So this next one is The Ghost Bride by Yang Si-Chu, which I've read and loved in a quite ugly English edition, but I will keep that ugly English one instead of this special edition, actually, that came out in German, just because, I don't know, I think this is a very beautiful edition, but I will never read this edition, so I don't think I'll have to keep it. So this is what my edition looks like compared to the beautiful German one. Yeah, I think the English one is quite ugly, but I don't know, I loved reading it, loved the content for sure. Very, very dark but also funny and romantic book with some mythology and there's some fantasy, some historical fiction. So yeah, I loved it very much. So I don't know, I really don't need 2 copies of it. So I'll get rid of the German one. Even though it is just a very, very pretty edition. All kinds of special stuff, and it's also signed on the end papers. The same goes for the next book. This is the German edition of They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Own it in English, loved reading it in that edition, and if I'll ever reread it, I would choose the English one, although it is, in comparison, quite ugly. I got the cheapest version because I thought I would not enjoy it, but turns out I loved it. So yeah, I'll just keep the ugly edition, whatever. It looks great in the bookshelves because the spine is not as ugly and has this kind of holographic effect, almost very shiny, let's say it like that. It's not holographic, it's a shiny blue color. So yeah, get rid of the beautiful edition to keep the one that I would read. And the last books for the duplicate copies are The Red Rising original trilogy. So I had them in German and a paperback version, nothing fancy about them, but the covers are quite cool. So I recently got the Fairy Loot Iron edition of it, and it looks just way cooler. Although, as I've said, I do like these covers as well. I prefer the original language in hardback with some special stuff. So yeah, don't need those ones anymore. And so this tiny stack of books is books that I just didn't enjoy and don't need on my bookshelves in any kind of edition. Just want to get rid of those for more room for books that I enjoyed more. So the first book is by Lucinda Riley. It's a standalone historical novel which is called The Hot House Flower in English, and it was okay, but I will never reread it, and I don't need to keep all of the Lucinda Riley's books on my shelves. I only read this standalone. I don't think I've read another standalone by her. Just started the Seven Sisters series, which I enjoy much more than this one, so don't need this one, even though it's quite cool design, because this circle on the top of the cover is a cutout. So yeah, cool design idea. It's a beautiful edition, but I don't need it. And then next up, I'll get rid of this German edition of Fourth Wing, just because I only read the first book in the series. I didn't even bother reading Iron Flame, because this just was okay, really. It started out great, but didn't like how it ended and in what direction it will go. So yeah, gave it 3 stars. Don't need it on my shelves, although it is very beautiful, but I will never ever reread it. And then this is My Sister the Serial Killer, which I really enjoyed. It's a thriller, so yeah, it's very hard for thrillers to stay on bookshelves because you rarely reread those, and this is the case for this one. I don't think I'll ever reread it, but it was very good. So I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars, but very good stars. I really enjoyed the whole book, and I loved the cover as well, but yeah, I just don't need to keep it. And then this one isn't technically my book, but my mum read it, had duplicate copies of it, gave one to me, but I'm just not interested in reading it, so I'll just get rid of it. So this is a romance book for Christmas, where there are all kinds of authors, and I think every day you can read one story by one of these authors. Don't think they are connected at all. And then you also have chapters, or a chapter, I have no idea, for the new year, so not just Christmas. But yeah, I'm just not interested in romance in general. Romance short stories doesn't sound appealing to me, so I don't really need it. And then we're almost done. So this very beautiful cover is After Me Comes the Flood by Sarah Perry. which is also, I would say, a literary thriller. It's very slow. It is interesting, but I don't know, it wasn't really hitting it for me in the end. I own The Essex Serpent by the author as well, and really excited to read that. Hopefully I'll enjoy it much more than this one, but I do recommend it for reading it once, but you can get a very cheap copy and see if you like it. I don't think it's a book that I really need or that I'll reread in the future. And then the last book for this unhaul is the copy that I'm most sad about, that I have to get rid of it because it's so beautiful. I love the cover so much. It's Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Emily Wenzel, and yeah, I just thought it was okay. This is also a series, maybe just a duology, I have no idea, but I'm not interested in the sequel, so that already says everything, I think. It was a good book, but there wasn't anything really special about it. Again, it started out very well, but quickly got into a direction that just had no surprises for me anymore. It was pretty predictable, and it got into a direction that I personally just don't enjoy, but others might well do. Way too much action for me. Just don't like that in books very much, but it has some interesting fantasy aspects in there, mythological aspects, and a main character that I liked for most of the part. So yeah, it's not a bad book, but I just don't need it. I will never reread it, and I have a lot of other Asian inspired mythology fantasy stuff on my shelves that are hopefully better, because I haven't read most of them, so I just don't need this one as well. I think all of these books might be quite similar in vibes, so yeah, the mediocre ones just don't need to be here. So that concludes the unhaul. I already filmed a few clips of me giving some of these books to my school library, so it might turn out that there are books in there that I've shown you in a different unhaul, or that I didn't show you anywhere and forgot that I should have posted a video first before getting rid of them. But yeah, I have the footage. Not sure if you're able to see anything in it, but I might as well play it. I can't show you footage of putting these books that I just showed you in that bookshelf, because there are still holidays when I'm filming this video for almost half a week, and yeah, I just can't get to the school right now. I can only do that in just a few days to do that, and didn't want to wait. Really wanted to show you all of my unhaul books right now. Wasn't patient enough. So yes, that's my unhaul. It takes me forever to collect just 17 books to unhaul, because for me it's really difficult to get rid of beautiful books. As you well know, buying books and reading books are very different hobbies, and buying beautiful books is a hobby of mine for sure. So it's just very difficult to get rid of books. but yeah, I need to get better at it because I have no space left on my shelves at all. I have books laying around on the floor all over the place, so yeah, I should unhaul more, but that's the amount I got for now. Not a lot yet, but it's better than no books, right? So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you didn't get mad at me for unhauling any of these books, but yeah, I'll see you in my next video, and until then, take care, happy reading, and bye!